Welcome back folks, my name is LastKnownMeal and today we're going to be talking about Cyberpunk 2077 and PlayStation Store. Apologies for the lack of videos, my wisdom tooth were growing out and my jaw refused to move. Luckily that has been solved and I can go back to making videos, so apologies for waiting. So as most of you know, after the release many people wanted a refund for the game due to the state of Cyberpunk 2077, on most specifically consoles. Due to the high demand, CD Projekt vowed to refund everyone who wants to refund the game, and also it was at that time that Sony removed the game from their store. And even in that case people are saying that it's because CDPR wanted it so, but I would say it was mostly on both ends. Keep in mind, Sony didn't want to deal with it, so obviously the best way to do is remove it and issue refunds. Also, some people have been criticizing Sony for removing Cyberpunk and not other games which are also released in similar state. To be honest, my response to that is that we don't know the specifics, and if the game was removed, it was removed. Nothing that can be done about that besides fixing the game to the point where it works properly and can be returned to the store. We can try to find 300,000 reasons for the removal, but there is only one which is proper. That is, just make the game run well, it's coming back on store. It's that simple. Now, patch 1.2 was supposed to be that jump. Obviously, a lot of people expected the game to return then, where I said it most probably won't, because keep in mind, FPS on consoles, even with patch 1.2, is still having issues. Multiple sources confirmed it in their benchmarks, with actual Xbox One running the worst out of all consoles, even worse than PlayStation 4 stock. Now, regarding Microsoft, they did issue refunds, but they haven't removed the game from their store. But also keep in mind that Microsoft and Xbox in particular was heavily marketing with Cyberpunk 2077, so of course they're not gonna be removing the game which they actually invested money in, so of course it's going to stay. Now let's look at the patch. So according to CDPR, patch 1.2 is supposed to be a foundation for other patches in the future, which was clearly shown, and of course game did run a bit better with that patch. A lot of people did come up to me and said that of course the game that they're playing on PlayStation 4 and Xbox One is running a bit better, but also I had some people reporting that the game was pretty much the same for them and they haven't seen any proper upgrades to the frame rate or crashes or anything like that. Now 5 days ago CDPR did say it has a friendly relationship with Sony, with Mikhail Novakovsky saying this, who is actually a biz dev at CDPR. So regarding this process, we have published several patches. We have just published a really big one yesterday, and we have published several hotfixes, and each and every one of them brings us closer to going back to the PSN store. However, the final decision, you have to understand, belongs to Sony. We do believe we're closer than further, but of course the final call is theirs, so let's wait and see. I mean, generally waiting and seeing is a bit iffy to say, but nevertheless this next step is on Sony. And here is what I think. So potentially it will take CDPR a few more months in my opinion to get the game to run smoothly. But that I don't mean adding stuff, I mean just making the game run without huge FPS drops or crashes. Because technically, Sony doesn't care about features and stuff within the game, for as long as the game can run and you can play it. That's their perspective on this. So I do believe that after the next patch, and by that I mean big patch, we could see it come back. And if we go back to how long that will take, most likely in the next 2 to 3 months, and this is me being optimistic. Of course, this is a giant hit for the company. Not having your game on one of the biggest stores in the world doesn't help. Now, a funny thing is that CDPR had a record year when it comes to consolidated sales revenue and net profit. But there is a catch. So in 2020 they made $562 million in consolidated sales revenue and $303 million in overall net profit. Last time they set the record was $89.8 million in net profit in 2015, and in 2015, after the release of The Witcher 3, they also had $210 million in sales revenue. So from the financial standpoint, and only financial standpoint, this was a huge win. but at what cost? Keep in mind, this profit is made up from a few segments. First, hype for the game based on marketing and promises by CDPR. Second, the success of CDPR when it comes to the Witcher franchise, especially the last Witcher game, Witcher 3. And 3, relationships they had built with the fans. And now when this trust is shaken, it will be interesting to see how that translates to their next game or expansion for Cyberpunk in general. I mean, this was done, but at the cost of the IP, because now everything associated with Cyberpunk is connected to the state of the game. I mean, just look at Cyberpunk Red, a tabletop RPG, was being trashed even though they had nothing to do with CDPR, just because Mike Pondsmith, the creator of this Cyberpunk universe, gave the rights to develop the game. Obviously, the tabletop RPG has nothing to do with a video game or CDPR in general. So obviously this whole release was emotional for people, very emotional, but at the end of the day you can love or hate the game, but we cannot ignore the fact that criticism is good for them. Constructive criticism, of course, because this is insane. Having your game removed from PS Store is huge, is astronomical, especially for a company this big with this reputation. I mean, their stocks do reflect that, although it's consolidating right now around $48 per share. Keep in mind, it was $117 per share on 4th of December 2020, but as soon as the game came out, it dipped fast. What I do hope in the future is that CDPR takes good notes from all of this, and we did have a couple of videos a few days back when they talk about, reorganizing studio, doing this, doing that. Obviously, so far that's only on paper and those are only just words until we don't see it in action. I say don't trust anything, it's that simple. And I do remember the times when Adam Kaczynski, I think it was one of the investors calls, he said that they will never ever force their devs to do something or release something because of fiscal. Now obviously, some of those things have changed, and I do wish they go back to the time when that was the actual case. So all in all, in my opinion, it will take still about 2 to 3 months to bring it back to PS Store, if they already don't have some deal in secret to have it returned soon. But to be honest, if it was supposed to happen, it would happen already, because patch 1.2 is out for a good time now and the game is still not on PSN, so it's probably waiting for the next big patch. Same when it comes to profit, they have record sales now, but what will happen next year or the year after that? Now that's something to follow. I do believe they will have full results on the last year on April 22nd, so I will be following that for further updates. Keep in mind, there is a next-gen upgrade coming for Cyberpunk 2077, which is free if you have the game already. And oh boy, I do hope that upgrade will be smooth, because with that they can show people they are living up to what they said. And that's it for today. I did have a lot of people asking me what is going on with PlayStation Store, what is going to be happening with Cyberpunk and PlayStation Store, so I wanted to make a separate video where I'm going to talk about all of this. But tell me down below, what do you think about this, and also don't forget to smash that like and subscribe button for more, and join our growing community on Twitter and Discord. I also do have Odyssey, which is a YouTube alternative, so check it out, and I have a Patreon page if you wanted to support the channel in an extra way, and huge thanks to my current Patreon supporters. This is LKM signing out, and stay classy everyone. Bye bye.